Good evening, everybody, and welcome to StatCheck episode 66. This is Ironstorming the Meta. StatCheck is a show that's run every week, talking about all things Warhammer 40k and stats and meta and tournament. And all this weekend, a bunch of us are prepping for events next weekend. I'm prepping for events for the next month. Life is hell, but also in a good way. So I hope everybody's having a great time. Welcome to the show. I'm Innes. I'm joined by Nathan, Jeremy, and Anthony. How is everybody doing today? Let's start with Nathan.
I'm doing fine. I'm slowly being ground into dust by work, but that's the usual nonsense. I continue to paint stuff, and then I'm running a fun kind of like invitational RTT this weekend where I'm running 3 Phoenix Lords and some nonsense basically. Like there are striking scorpions and Karandras in the list, so it's kind of just whatever. I wanted to paint. What?
Please tell me you're putting all 3 Phoenix Lords in a Falcon.
There is a Falcon. They're not all going in the same Falcon because there's only one Falcon because that's all I have time to paint, bud. There are 2 fire prisms in the list because everybody is bringing vehicles. Like there's an air custodies list that somebody is proposing for it, which is a lot of tank. Other than that,
I like how Nathan's list tailoring for his friendly RTT.
Look, man, I do also not want to just die instantaneously.
The Ares is spooky because it still has the old towering rules because it's an aircraft.
It also has like 9 or 10 shots at D6 plus 1 hitting on 2s and at like strength 14. It's basically just got a bunch of lances and is 22 wounds.
The bombs are also hilarious.
Yeah, just remove cover and then mortal wounds on 6s. Every time you fly over something, it's fine.
Mm-hmm.
Other than that, practicing for our TTS teams thing by playing Tyranids on the side on TTS when I have spare moments, which isn't a lot because if I'm not doing work or painting, I'm playing Spider-Man 2 right now. What is 40k aside from hobby? That's all it is. It's a lighthouse. The Fire Prism chassis is slightly different than that Falcon chassis. Just slightly, though. Just slightly.
Jeremy, how about yourself?
I'm doing well. I was at a team event this weekend with some of the usual crowd. Montreal. We came, we saw, we conquered again.
Just beating the French Canadians
It was
into the dirt.
Yeah, basically. I genuinely look forward to the day when we lose a round there.
Yeah. You're giving them independence from their trophies.
Pretty much liberating of them. We unfortunately played the other Ottawa team round 5, so or the third Ottawa team round 5, so we ruined the chances of a 1-2-3 Ottawa podium at a Montreal event. Instead, it was just 1 and 3, and then the organizers team second.
Yeah, fair enough. If you must do bad things to people, at least do bad things in a funny way.
Or to the French.
Same difference.
The French would be hurt by the association of Quebec people with the French.
Just bonus points.
Put it out there.
Yeah, I know. I was just saying that's not a downside here.
Guys,
they treat us badly when we're there. We'll treat them badly when they're here.
Mm-hmm.
Anthony, what about you? Up to anything recently?
I finished Diablo for the season. I killed the Uber End boss twice. I played a build that I like. Yeah, I'm done. I hit level 90, not 100, but fucking whatever. So yeah, I started studying for what will hopefully be a new role thing coming soon. Trying to get some Amazon AWS certs now. So that's where my free time will go. That isn't coaching or 40k related. So I'll probably stop playing, like random video games too much. Like the 60 hours in a week of Cyberpunk or whatever that was, and then probably a little too much time on Diablo in the rest of the time. So that hyper-focus energy can be spent on, I guess, like progressing my career. Gross.
Doesn't sound like a real thing.
Well, for you, progressing the career is progressing the gas pedal at this point, right? So same.
More or less.
So yeah, that's pretty much it. I have Cali Cup in 2 weeks. Next week.
We fly like a week tomorrow, man.
Yep, that. All right. Paul Waller. I definitely knew that was next week, not the week after. So yeah, there's that. That'll be sweet. I've been practicing really hard for it by playing Chaos Knights a bunch, even though I'm playing just for that event. Yeah.
To be fair, man, it's player place. Diablo's got about as much to do with that as regular 40k does. So
Every time you run a Nightmare Dungeon, the layout is different. So we've gotten that far. Yeah, there's not really much else. Yeah, we'll see how it goes. Nos, I am already pretty proficient in Azure, so I am not doing stuff there. I am trying the other systems to see.
how's Team USA selections, all that stuff going?
Yeah, so 14 people made it through to the way the process works is that it starts as like the applicant step. So we had 45 people apply. From there, that is selected down to 12. In theory, anyway. So the team votes. You get up to 12 votes. The people with the 12 most votes get interviewed by Sean. That is a great system, except this is the only part of the program that isn't ranked choice voting. So there was a bunch of ties at the bottom, so Sean had to interview 14 people. So we found a hole in the system, but it's okay. We'll address that in the future. So Sean is currently in the process of interviewing people, and we'll see how it goes from there. That 14 will probably narrow down somewhere between like 4 and 8, I think, is what the current like team size cap allows for. I think if Sean picks 5 or less, we don't have to cut anybody next year. It would be a following year problem, because of how like recursion and being on the team works. Like if everybody decided to come back and Sean put 6 people on the team, we would have issues next year. Like people would have to get cut or choose to drop. And honestly, with the new processes, by the time you've put enough work in to be on, self-dropping, unless you have like a child coming or something, is probably just not super worth it. So it's better to just stay in if you're already in and leave if you must. It's all 8 to 12s, Sam. And if anyone lets me get more than that, they're bad. That's more leaders. I also, you can literally ask Innis. I did the same thing in Alpine.
He's lying. He 100% put in some effort at Alpha. He had a couple booyahs.
I did not. I only used that at. I used that only at WTC, and it cost me like $80 in drinks because I bought the entire team drinks. There's like a picture in the Team USA Discord that's a screenshot of my like bank account and like the charge, and says "Booyah, a cautionary tale." So yeah. So yeah, the team process is going good. We'll have our like academy team, which is like functionally our what I would refer to as our prospect role from last year, done soon. And then once that's all done, like my role on the team now, because I have a real title, yay, kicks in, and I start organizing practice and organizing our travel to team events.
Hell yeah, man. Glad to hear it's all coming together. Looking forward to seeing what happens for you guys this year.
Woo!
As for myself, I had a busy old week. I played in a little GT, 30-player GT. It was the 8-year anniversary of my first ever singles tournament. I had played a few like random like RTTs, and I played a team event before, but Rapid Fire 2015 was my first ever actual proper 2-day event, and I did terribly. And then this year I won it for the second year in a row. So it's always nice to see literal examples of growth. So yeah, it was really cool. I played Chaos Space Marines at it. Managed to take down Brian on the way through in round 2, and then I played a couple of Team Scotland players on the way up. So I played against Alan on Ironstorming in round 5, had a super close game there. I think it's going to be on Goonhammer tomorrow in their showdown bit, so go and check that out if you want to see some more details about it. But yeah, Chaos Space Marine, super fun. Love punching things with Chosen. Forge Fiend stressed me out, something severe. Hello, Cat.
Cat.
Mostly the Forge Fiends stressing me out, though. Forge Fiends are terrifying. I hate shooting them, and they never seem to do anything except when they do everything.
I just can't have them punch up. The second something's toughness is double digits, my Forge Fiends are just like, I don't want.
Yeah, casually just being like, that's one devastating wound and no saves, but you had full rerolls, man.
Yeah, you had full rerolls. Why did you roll 3 shots and no explodes, you asshole?
Yeah,
I had my last round game. I was playing into CSM, and I had a Forge Fiend, Nurgle Forge Fiend, shoot at one of my Sagittars. Did the math in my head. I was like, nah, I won't void armor. You aren't going to do anything to me. And actually nothing, 0 wounds.
Yep. That shouldn't happen, but it can.
I will say, Props to my Nurgle Forge Fiend who did kill the Phoenix Gem in combat, and then leaving it to get shot.
Let's go.
2 attacks, 3 hits. Let's go.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Love it. Love it.
Punch that guy through the sun.
Pacting the Nurgle Forge Fiend melee is a
Yeah, I was on 4 wounds as well. It was like dodgy as hell. I was like, I want this guy gone. And he sure did die. It was quite funny. But yeah, besides that, we're prepping up. We're traveling down to Nottingham for a team event this weekend. We're playing. We've got 3 Scottish teams going down to play against 3 English, Welsh, and a Northern Irish team. So that's happening. We've got 6-man teams for that. So it's proper back into tournament season. So we've got a bunch of like Team Scotland prospects, a bunch of people who've used to play for the team but are looking to come back, and a bunch of this year's players. Plus, we've got a last sign off for Brian and Simon before they retire from the team, to give them all a nice big run out. So yeah, it should be a really good time. Plus, it was as somebody mentioned in chat, it's my birthday this week, so 100% we are doing whatever we want in Nottingham, because we're going to be in the city centre and the venue is in the city centre, so there's no excuse. Plus, we're playing the Northern Irish round 1, so there's absolutely no excuse.
The Northern Irish stayed out drinking until 3 a.m. the round before they played us at WTC.
I mean, they knew what that round was going to be.
Dude, they knew what they were about. Is more like it. They didn't give a fuck.
Yeah, it's a shame Cahill's not going to be there, but a bunch of their new players are going to be there, as well as their captain. So yeah, it should be a really good time.
I mean, would Cahill even really be there, even if he was there? Have you seen that man shaved?
It's true.
It's a nightmare. What did he do?
He posted that picture, and it was like an actual nightmare scenario.
This is one of those things where there's people talk about the show very just occasionally just descending into things that only people who are already in the tournament scene will understand. But Cahill shaved is like.
It's terrifying.
His beautiful beard, and now he's a soft baby man.
Like, you imagine like the worst monster from any creature film you've ever watched. It's like if it's like the Thing from The Thing and like Flubber had a baby, like that's Cahill.
I honestly just thought he looked like Wallace from Wallace and Gromit. So
that too.
He looked like the clay they used to make Wallace from Wallace and Gromit.
Oh, Cahill, we love you, but. That needs to come back, man.
That's been me. Not been super inactive, unfortunately. And then obviously we're off to Cali Cup. So I get back from my team event in England. We drive 6 hours home. I work for 2 days, and then Wednesday morning we fly to California,
which is an easy flight from the UK.
It's only like 18 hours total of travel.
Oh, is that all?
Yeah, it's not that bad. It's a good amount of sleep, and it technically only lasts like 6 hours because of time travel. So.
Yeah.
So I'll get there and it's like 5 p.m. and I get to go and do stuff, or 3 p.m. I think I land. I get to go and do stuff for the day or pass out.
Did you coordinate with the boys to actually go do stuff?
No, I've coordinated absolutely nothing.
Oh, you should talk to them about what to do.
No, I don't do that. I'm going to go to the Airbnb and then pass out and order takeaway. It's going to be great.
Oh, I mean, that's fine too. I was just saying, like, you can't just be like out there wandering through American cities without consequences is all I was trying to get at. Just like make sure.
It'll be fine. What's the worst that could happen?
To anyone listening that's planning on going to the GW finals in Atlanta, do not do that.
Shit, there goes my plans for Atlanta.
Don't just like aimlessly wander around Atlanta. I'm sure the area that the hotel is in is fine.
Okay, so what you're saying is I should rethink my plans for Cali and Atlanta.
Just ask people some questions. That's all.
I still remember when we showed up at Tacoma, we were told you are not allowed to walk towards Mount Rainier. That is Mount Doom. You walk away from it if you want to go to somewhere interesting.
Okay.
And then the other, I mean, after London, maybe I should take some advice on where to be in cities. But
dude, you don't eat like 90% of the food that's available in San Diego.
Innes is gonna get rice and die.
Don't mind rice.
There'll be too many spices. It's okay.
All right, guys, take us into the stats before you guys kill me.
Yes, with Mexican food. All right, let's go. We're gonna talk about this in like a few different. I honestly,
you can't just do that, guys. Like,
you can.
Right, for the podcast listeners, Alex Taus just posted, "Damn, Nathan was less worried about my safety when I stayed with him. I was just wandering Chicago, LMAO."
You are honestly fine 95% of the time when you're just wandering like around the city. And most of the places that Alex was going to were tourist places, which
Oh,
are
that's
very safe. Most of
He's not just
Chicago
like in an
itself is
Airbnb in a
also
residential area.
Chicago itself is also very safe. They're
Yeah.
like, I don't want to go into the state of Chicago crime statistics because it's just not interesting podcast material for this section. If somebody
It's
really
not
wants to
worth
talk
it.
about it, we can talk about it later. The vast majority of the time, Innes, if you can Innes, if you can survive wandering around London, then you can survive wandering around most large cities in the United States.
Listen, Ben,
It's-
Team Scotland has one good player left. We're not allowed to kill him.
Wow,
All
I
right,
can't
stats.
take you again.
Stats time. All right. So everybody's really excited about the Space Marine release.
Why?
And its effects on the meta or something. Everybody keeps asking me for Space Marine numbers on the side. I'm going to talk about that in a minute because we do break out the events that use just this new Space Marine Codex. And it does amazing things for their win rate that you'll all be super astounded by. But first, for this week in stats, Eldar are still number one for win rate, 62.5% win rate, 9.1% meta representation, 3 event wins, 11 top 4s, 23 top 10s, 2.3 over rep ratio, which, you know, is great to see Eldar survive their first nerfing so intact. Chaos Space Marines are not that far behind them, and I'm going to talk about them later in this when I have a special segment about how Chaos Space Marines are in fact broken. Chaos Space Marines have a 7.7% meta representation, a 59.8% win rate, 3 event wins,
Relax.
8 top 4s, 18 top 10s, and a 2 over rep. So let's talk about that some more in a minute. Gene Stealer Colts have popped back into the top 5. Their plan is generations in the making, and they've decided to come and return to high win rates, I guess, but no event wins.
Someone found the demo charge data sheet and was like, "Oh, this is still pretty good."
Yep.
I realized you could put them inside transports and use them infinitely.
Also that. So 19 players, 2.4% of the meta, 57.8% win rate. No event wins this weekend, but they got 3 top 4s, 5 top 10s. Because they're such a low meta representation army, they have a 2.3 over rep, so I wouldn't read too deeply into those tea leaves at the moment. World leaders are in 4th for weak performance, 3.3% of the meta, a 57.3% win rate. No event wins, 3 top 4s
That's
and
my
5 top
boys.
10s, continuing their bridesmaid, not the bride situation with a 1.73 over rep still, though.
Absolutely.
And then
lads.
Somehow magic by barely having a reasonable number of players this weekend, 2 above the usual number of 10 for the cutoff that I use. Drukhari are in 5th place for weak performance, 12 players, 1.5% of the meta, a 55.5% win rate, and no event wins, no top 4s, and 2 top 10s for a 0 over rep ratio, though, for the weekend.
Did Scary play an event this weekend?
He did.
Yeah.
However,
Mm-hmm.
at his event, he was not the best Drukhari player.
I don't even care. That's fine. He played Mono Coven.
I know, it's great. Man went 4-2 with Mono Coven.
Yep. I think we briefly chatted about
Exactly like
removing him
Raider
from the
Rebels.
data set just to see what Drukhari actually are like across the entirety of 10th edition 40k. We'll talk about that in a special segment of Scari's Drukhari versus everybody else's Drukhari, just for funsies later. At the bottom, we have Death Watch with only 5. They only have 5 players, so it's not even really worth talking about beyond
5
that.
more than they should have.
I think it's funny that they have a 33% win rate. I don't know. I think that's amusing. Imperial Knights are actually the worst faction with a reasonable number of players this weekend. They had 20 players, 2.6% of the meta, and a 36.2% win rate, which
that
is
was always true. It's just now the stats also support that.
real bad.
And then, I mean, release rules for Imperial Knights, that was not the case.
For someone, maybe.
When all the Imperial Knight players were cheating and rerolling all their ones, they were great.
Even then,
that was how it was written.
I didn't care how many ones you rerolled against Eldar or CSM.
That's true.
Space Marines are next worst at 8% of the meta for pure Codex Space Marines. This is before we're going to pull out new versus old, and we'll talk about new in a second. They had a 40.7% win rate, 1 event win, 2 top 4s, and 6 top 10s. That event win was with the new book. Both of their event wins were with the new book. The new book numbers, because several of the events did run the new book, it doesn't change that much. They had a 40.2% win rate instead of a 40.7. Not really changing the dial very much on the win rate for Codex Space Marines, but both of their event wins. Black Templar also won an event this weekend using the Ironstorm detachment. So their 2 event wins were with new book. The good detachment, basically.
Yeah,
Actually,
like,
I think one of their wins was with the old
what do you
book.
want?
I thought they both were with new book. We can take a look at it in a minute.
Yeah.
Necrons are next up. 6.5% of the meta, 41.8% win rate. They got a top 4 and 6 top 10s for a 0.3 over rep. And then Custodes are 5th from the bottom. 26 players, 3.3% of the meta. Their meta representation has dropped quite substantially over the last few weeks. And 42% win rate. So trying their damnedest to stay just fringely outside of the 45 to 55% range. That's kind of it. Everything else is just not that different from how it was before. Tyranids are right inside the 45% at a 46.9% win rate. Adeptus Mechanicus won another event while still being like a very strange looking army from a win rate perspective. And Sisters decided to buck the trend and got a 52% win rate for the weekend with 1 top 4 and 2 top 10s, while being the, I think, least played book. Yep, least played mono codex faction with 10 players. So barely meaningful. I did bring up a couple images to show people, so we're going to do the fun thing where we look at screenshots from the metadata dashboard, which you can also look at stat-check.com/the-meta. Yes,
Good
Jeremy,
luck, podcast
you have your
listeners.
hand raised.
All right, I'm just going to quickly clarify because I had to go back and check my stats. So Space Wolves did win a GT this weekend using the old book.
Okay.
That was the 3rd Marine win this weekend that I knew existed. I just couldn't remember who had done it.
There you go. So 2 for
And
new
honestly,
book,
Space Wolves
1
know
for
what I
old
mean.
book. There you go. All right. Into me doing a really good job of using technology. And by that I mean not even remotely. But not that one. There it is.
Cat is very attention needy right
So
now.
this is the totality of the meta for the Data Slate plus Tyranids, where we have Eldari at the top, followed by Black Templar, followed by Chaos Space Marines. Meta's pretty stable. Meta's pretty good. Most of the factions are within the balance window. Just Eldar over the top. Chaos Space Marines are technically also outside the balance window. I don't know why 56% qualifies as not being within the balance window. I'll talk to Cliff.
It's
about
probably
that
like
at some
56
point.
point X and rounding up on the visualizer, but not above 55 point whatever for the thing to catch it.
That's probably what it is. I'm just going to talk to Cliff about it to make sure that that's what it is. Custodes are
really weird, but probably what's happening.
Yeah, really weird, but probably what's happening. So we'll continue on. Custodes are 44.4%, I think, at this point when we're looking at this image capture. Drukhari and are the only mono faction like pretty far below, and then Blood Angels kind of at the bottom. And then let's see if it. Oh, it's not going to stop sharing. Share this tab instead. There we go. All right, this is now just Marines release stuff. So just this week, basically, and just Codex Space Marines post release. With Chaos Space Marines, 3 wins, Eldari 1 win. These are just events with Marines, I believe. Yep. 1 Space Marine win, 1 Black Templar win using new detachments. Tau won an event that used the new Space Marines. Orcs won an event, and Chaos Knights won an event. It's not like dramatically different. It's also good to caveat this data with the fact that it's not very many events, so we'll have to kind of keep an eye on how things go moving forward. Although in this data with the new Space Marine book, we do have Chaos Space Marines at the top with 63% win rate and a 2.59 over rep ratio.
I'm sure January will fuck that right up for them.
Yeah, I'm sure that Chaos Space Marines and Eldari won't get.
Chaos Space Marines aren't going to be good for 2 metas in a row.
No,
They
definitely
weren't.
not.
They certainly weren't in ninth.
To be fair, though, what's going to happen is Eldar are going to get Chaos Space Marines are going to get nerfed harder than Eldar do.
Yeah, they're going to get nerfed by the first balance patch. It didn't nerf people hard enough. Balance patch, so the balance patch is going to be way sterner on the second go around, and so Chaos Space Marines are going to get nerfed into like the straight
Wow,
ground.
this past one was pretty stern.
Good luck, World Eaters.
God, fuck. I just want one of my armies to work.
And
Hey,
this is
Drakari might have a codex by then.
Hopefully,
true.
fucking
Maybe that'd be
please.
awesome. It'd be great to have a Codex Drakari that was nice.
But
Imagine if you got
Detachment,
Drakari and Real Space Raiders was the best attachment in it.
Sure.
I mean, if they were better and that was true, then I would take it. And-
I almost guarantee it can't get worse.
True. And then I'm going to
No,
explore.
not knocking on any wood. It can't get worse. That detachment blows.
Yeah.
Sorry,
Yeah.
when AdMech players are like, "Oh, I'm so glad we still have Rad Cohort because all these other ones are terrible," you're gonna know the pain that's coming for you.
Nah, it's gonna be fine. The Drakari detachment is the single worst piece of 10th edition design. Fucking quote me.
And so now I'm going to share kind of a problem that we're seeing in that Chaos Space Marine data set, just
Jesus.
because
Anthony,
this
you're
is
so getting
post
nerfed, bro.
Space Marine release, so the data is still kind of small, but because there's only like 27 games here for Eldari, so this is just post Space Marine book.
Do
release.
not look at World Eaters. It's
But this is
fine.
a whole lot of blue. Look at all this blue.
If you are
Except for that
planning,
chaos.
if you are planning to go to Atlanta, just take CSM. It's okay. Look at how OP they are.
They have a really good matchup into most factions at the moment. Their only questionable matchup basically into World Eaters and into Space Wolves, but those matchups are also very small samples. This is something that I'm going to continue talking about over the next couple of weeks if we see it change or not.
Hey, guys, they lose to Drakari as well. Like, so clearly, nerf
No,
It's
Drakari.
a
Drakari. It's a
50%. They
50%.
tie. It's
That's
They
just a
lose to
coin
Drakari
flip.
yeah, half the time.
Could be 6 draws.
They do beat
Six
Eldar
draws.
56% of the time. So yeah, good matchups into the vast majority of the field. We'll see how this pans out over the next couple of weeks as we gather kind of a more full data set.
The absolute best stat here is them versus Necrons.
88%. Yes, that's a very
Holy
good Chaos Space Marine.
Shit.
Yeah, also, Imperial Knights and Grey Knights. Like,
Yep.
89 and 100. Yes. Again, very small data set. That's 7 games played. This is 17. But
for context, what does the Eldar one look like right now?
I don't have it in
Yeah.
front of me, but I'll pull it
I'll
up.
pull it up.
I got it. It'll take.
Just so we know, like, what
Shake.
we're talking about, like in terms of general level of bustedness. How does Eldars look? So we know a frame of reference.
Faction. Matchup overview. I think this is it. Yep, here we go. All right. Eldari Battle Host. Here we go. It looks like this.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
97% win rate into Space Marines, which is never not funny.
For Space Marines, bro.
That means they've dropped. Wait.
Half a game?
Yeah.
Eldar out here. Well, the Eldar into Space Marines thing makes sense, right? Like, Fuegan kills half their army when they, regardless of what
himself,
detachment
Yeah, and
they
Fuegan
take.
just doesn't die.
15-0-1, my man.
But yeah, like Chaos Space Marines have more blue than Eldar do.
How the
yeah,
fuck
Not
I
a
think-
lot.
How are they negative into demons? What?
It's 7 games.
Oh, it's
played.
7 games. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Also, you have to
Again,
remember the
this
kind
is-
of Eldar player that's playing against Demons players right now is like.
Fair.
Look,
If we
So-
include everything after the data slate, so we'll get a more complete
No, no, no,
picture.
no.
Yeah, see, that looks
Before you do
more-
that,
It's too late. I already did it.
oh, I would say go to the bottom right and hover over the Adeptus Mechanicus one because they're 0-2 since in
Well,
the
that's
in the new
Imperial
rookie
Ages.
book.
That's Imperial
Go.
Ages at the bottom right, isn't it?
Go, Admech, go.
The bottom right in the original one was actually Adeptus Auroritas, 0-1.
Damn it, Quentin.
Chaos Space Marines looks like this. So theirs isn't that different from Eldar's from a quantity of blue perspective.
Yeah. Part of
They
this
have
is
bad
probably still
matchups
a little
into
bit, like-
Votan, Tau, and Eldar.
That seems
I will
true.
say part of this is probably a little bit the Chaos Space Marine list has adapted to the point where it has like an answer in the meta with Liam VSL's list basically taking over in terms of a bunch of play rate, and people will just need to figure out ways to play into that a little bit more. And I think over like I think a little bit of time before that stops. But for like Atlanta, I wouldn't expect CSM to be as big a problem as this because people will now be prepping for them exactly the same as they are Eldar. So as always, these are a snapshot of a period in time rather than representative of the exact state of what we're looking at, right?
Yeah, they're not prognosticative. Like, I can't tell you what the meta is going to be like at Atlanta because that's several weeks away.
Well, Atlanta's also going to be a hell of a skewed event because you have, as I've mentioned to many people who think they're going to do well at this event, there are going to be 200 people who typically, obviously not everyone, typically want a major or higher to get there.
Yeah, there'll be 180 people there and 20 Canadians, and like you'll have to worry about at least 10 of those people.
I do want to say that I do think this is kind of a funnier trend line. It's Black Templars. Whee! Up to 50%.
Turns out turning them into a horde was a good idea.
Chaos Space Marines are right underneath there. They also have the fun trend line of just going up.
Now,
Eldar have started to kind of bounce back in. I don't want to show the Custodes ones because I'm going to get a bunch of messages from Custodes players. But I'll show it anyways because it also makes me really happy. This is the Custodes trend line.
It doesn't make me as happy as the Knights one does, but it does make me happy.
Here's the Drukhari one, which is going to make me real upset later because this is the 4-week rolling average, which has them at 43%.
Getting there.
There's Imperial Knights, though, down consistently since the start. And then there's Leagues of Votann, who have the Combat Kids story of the 10th edition, where they bounce right on back after that data slate. So actually do Death Guard. Death Guard got bounced up into the balance window.
It turns out it was a pretty decent data slate. Who'd have guessed?
And Mechanicus have just kind of sat in the balance window for a while now.
And nobody knows
Mechanicus
why
issue
or
not even. Well, isn't it like they're not bad? They're just boring as shit, right?
Yeah.
They have like one build that works.
I mean, that's every good army, though.
Nah, I mean one.
Yeah,
you can have variants on the CSM build, but like,
I mean, CSM is actually a rare case of the other way. But like,
you can have multiple Eldari builds that work.
Do you want to say that the Tyranids army is just so balanced? Just look at them. Just look at them hanging around around the 50%.
Look at them just always being slightly bad.
There were a couple moments where they were above average.
I mean, to be fair, all their good pilots only play them when they're busted, besides John. So
yeah,
it's true.
I also would say that Tyranids aren't bad. They're just they don't have an exciting play style at the moment.
They're perfectly acceptable in a world of Eldar and CSM.
Yep. Also, if you want to play the Swarm version of it, your back is slowly annihilated over the course of an event.
Did Francois ever decide if that actually hurts his back or if it's actually fine? Because I've seen him say both things with equal fervor.
So he enjoys playing it, but he sweats profusely at a tournament normally because of his, and then when he's playing the Swarm list, he sweats about twice as much. We thought he was going to slip in a puddle at the end of round one on Saturday morning.
Working for it.
Yeah. As he put it, anytime he would go into a tough matchup, he would be, this is the hardest 10-10 I've ever gotten. He
All right.
said that at the beginning of round 5 and then 18-2 to an Orc player, so that was amusing.
His first picture was, I didn't go first, so I didn't get, my opponent got to leave their deployment zone today.
That was
which is never not funny.
2 against Custodes. He was playing against someone who we played against a few times.
I thought that was the Orc matchup.
Oh no, it was the Orc matchup too, but the Custodes one was especially funny because they were playing Ritual. So if he had gone first, the Custodes player never would have created an objective.
Mm-hmm. Just, casually, never get
to could have created some to immediately give Francois primary.
I mean, yeah, that also happened, but
yeah. So the meta's doing okay. There's some potential problems on the horizon. We'll see if that pans out into being real problems or not. But Chaos Space Marines and Eldar winning basically all the events is a problem. That's just the first part of 10th, but with a different faction having cycled in. And a faction that is much more evenly doing it with Eldar as compared to when Imperial Knights and Eldar were winning most of the events.
At least it's an army I own this time, so, better matter.
There you go. And yeah, Space Marines, similar to Tyranids, essentially got a side grade. So they weren't doing that great before, and they're still not doing that great now.
Yeah.
point out something funny, and I know that there is one person who will really, really enjoy this. Is that since the slate, Eldari have a 44% win rate into Sisters.
How many games is that?
34.
That's not a lot of games.
I know it's
That's a
not
lot of games at
but
Tampa.
It's enough games for it to be funny.
How many games is that just the Tampa Bay Open?
I mean, if you're talking about Jeffrey Clodder, then it's like,
Is that like 3
One?
of the game? Is it just one?
let me
Oh,
go
I
double
guess
check
it-
to see what he played against. Doop-a-doo.
I'm just curious. It's not that many games, and I know he won at least one of them.
No. Okay, so he didn't come out of nowhere because that wasn't his first event of this season. He played against. No,
Yeah, I
he
also
only
looked at
played.
his record.
He only played Eldari once.
Oh man, I thought it was more than that for some reason, but I guess I didn't look at his Tampa Bay Open stuff closely enough.
Nope.
He actually
oh.
kind of did come out of nowhere a little bit. He hadn't won anything except an RTT this season, if I remember correctly.
Yes, but what I mean in terms of like, it's not like this was his first event of 10th.
True. Yes, it was not.
His
I've been
path,
told
though,
that-
I didn't actually look at this last time. Orcs, Cow, Vanguard Onslaught Tyranids, Orcs, John Lennon's Invasion Fleet, and then he played against Colin Watts' I think it was Invasion Fleet as well. And then he played Quinton's Battle Host, going first on Serval Skulls, and then he played into Harpster's Warband.
God damn it.
He did manage to dodge Eldar then most of the tournament, which is kind of nice.
Yeah, he didn't play it until the semis, and he
Yeah.
played it in the most favorable configuration you could possibly ask for.
Duck and weave.
Any given Sunday. But
Ah.
yeah,
Can't lose to Eldar if you don't play Eldar.
I mean,
Remember,
we've
folks.
talked about this before. So there is an element of luck in winning an event, whether it be in pairings or dice.
yep. All right. But yeah, that's
you went-
stats. We're going to keep an eye on the rest of it. Why don't we talk about some people's event wins and experiences from the weekend, especially since Innes won a GT and Jeremy, you won a teams event.
Jeremy, talk to us about the team event.
Sure, I'll talk about it. So first off, this was using Old Marine Book, and then every other FAQ that had come out up until then, including the updated WTC FAQ, which tweaked how big guns never tire, pistols, GSC, all of that work, because may as well. They were all clarifications. Nothing actually fundamentally changed how the armies that were coming played, aside from some Tyranid players who preferred to be able to overwatch once their monsters were in combat. This is it's an Imperialis team event in Montreal. These are a series of events that have been run over the last couple of years by Bruno Choquette. They are extremely fun events. They've been historically a little bit on the smaller side. The last one that we went to was 10 teams of 5, but this one was 18 teams of 5. So there were 90 players in attendance, 3 refs, I think, that were helping run the event. We were all packed into the officers' mess at one of the military bases in Montreal. So fun times. Makes for a really cheap bar because the officers' mess just runs on cost. But anyway, so yeah, our team comp was heading into this. We decided to take Marines, so we took Dark Angels. We actually just took Innis's LGT invitational list. I messaged him as we were getting our team comp rated, like, would you make any changes to this list in going into a teams event? And he said, as long as you can keep it away from Eldari, just vibe. And so that's what we did, mostly. And then some minor war gear swaps because models. And then we had that, and for anyone not familiar, that Innis's LGT Invitational was the Deathwing Night Brick with the captain, with a Terminator captain with Adept of the Codex, the Aggressor Bomb with the Apothecary Biologist sitting in a Land Raider Redeemer, and then 3 Ballistas Dreadnoughts and some random chaff for scoring.
Yeah, it's not a lot of random chaff either. You get like
No,
a
it's
squad
a
of
scout
Inceptors,
unit.
a squad of scouts, and a squad of sniper scouts.
Yeah, and a unit of infiltrators, which gives you some extra screening. And then the other members of our team was Francois was running his Unending Swarm list that he had taken to Quebec City the week or 2 weeks previous and had finished second. I don't think he made any tweaks to that before we submitted it. The list had been performing perfectly fine in testing.
Frankly, how would you know? No one's ever successfully read that list and come away with any information from it.
That list is a hell of a mindfuck the first time that you play into it. Even
It's
I
just
was
a
like,
wall of text.
yeah.
And it's just a wall of gaunts. And
It's a wall.
gargoyles.
No, it's a wall of gargoyles backed up by a mass of gaunts that follow behind them. So he brought that. We had done a fair amount of testing. We identified that it was a good teams list. It definitely had some hard counters, but we knew that since we're decent at pairings, we can keep them away from those. Chris was our captain. He brought CSM. Can't remember his exact list. I'm pretty sure that's Lanesha Blitz, so I'm gonna just move on from that.
Abaddon and 8 Obliterators.
Is that actually what it was? Okay. I wasn't paying attention to his list. I should have paid closer attention to it. Then we had Tim Deetliffs running Eldari, double Fire Prism, double Night Spinner, if I remember correctly, with the Incarn, and then the usual garbage Warp Spiders and Shadow Specters. I hate Eldari so much.
We can tell.
I'm just tired of reading their lists. Please, people, take something else. Take something bad.
Some people play the Avatar Arcane still, so
it's true. Some people go double Avatar, and it's very funny to watch them sink 800 points into things that can't score. All right. There was myself, brought the Leagues of O10 list that I had won my GT with 2 weeks previously. Is that the 5 people? I think it's 5 people.
Sounds like 5.
Yeah. So we had 2 relatively straightforward rounds. We first defended every single round with Jason, who was playing the Dark Angels, and he just basically took a map that none of us wanted to play on and tried to grab a pairing that none of us wanted. In this particular case, it turned out to be Tau twice, Necrons twice, and Eldari once, and he dropped 9 differential points all weekend.
all of them to Eldari.
All of them to Eldari.
Nice.
That list sure does run ramshot through a list that's not prepared to get ran out by Deathwing Knights.
Yeah. The Tau players were just absolutely shell-shocked at what happened to them, because they're like, actually, Jason did forget in the first game that his Deathwing Knights were -1 damage. It was like, how are these suits killing my knights? Oh. Put 4 bottles back on the table, go. You are now killing more Crisis suits than you are Deathwing Knights. Have fun. We first defended with him, and he would just pull out a table and a matchup that the 4 of us didn't want, and then after that, it was depending on what was left would be what we would defend with second. Round 1, we were into Team Donjon 2, which is Donjon is, literally translates to dungeon, but Donjon is a local Montreal team, super chill group guys. We've played variants of their team multiple times before at these previous team events. They recently split their team, and I actually really appreciated what they did here is they took their usual core 5 and split into 3 and 2, and then brought 2 new and 3 new players to kind of walk them through the team's process and build them up to, build them into a second full-fledged Donjon team. So that bit was really cool to hear about. I talked with Valentine, I think it's Valentin, a fair bit. He's usually in chat. I'm surprised he hasn't poked his head in yet. We had fun in that round. I can't remember the score, but we won. Round 2, we played into crap. I feel terrible because I can't remember their team name. Oh, it was Imperialist Armored Corps. Imperialist is a Montreal organization of players. Armored Corps is one of their farm teams, essentially, or secondary teams. Again, led with Jason. I think he got Necrons that round. And then round 1, I played the Mirror, which was Votan on Votan. Unfortunately, my opponent had a land fort and no warriors.
Oh no.
And we were playing supply drop.
What did he have in his Sagittars?
Grimnirs. He had 3 Sagittars with Grimnirs in them.
I mean,
love it.
hero, but also that seems not great in supply drop.
No, it was really not good in supply drop. He had used a Thunderkin with no Iron Master, and then he had 2 Hearthguard units with calls, which that part was pretty nice. Unfortunately, I went first, and by the end of my 2, the only place that he could drop was my deployment zone. And because it was supply drop and I had just made all 3 middle objectives sticky, he scored 0 primary the entire game.
Ouch.
Yeah.
I do not like supply drop.
Yeah. Everyone loves supply drop. Round 2, we played Ritual. I ended up into CSM. This was the first of 3 CSM games I played that weekend. And I hate Ritual because I can't stop them from scoring primary as efficiently. But ended up,
what a shame.
yeah, it was
Terrible.
In the end, it was a 15-5 for me. Our team won the round. Again, can't remember the score. It was 65, I think, to 35. One of the interesting things about this event is that they had decided that the draw would be a 48 to 52, and so a win would be 53 points, which is real tight as opposed to the usual 55 that I have played with in the past. So we won that round. Round 3, we went into the first of our tougher matches, which was into Imperialists, which is United, which is the main team. So this is the team that Bruno runs. John Winter Russell plays guard for them, and then they had 3 other players. Edouard, who came with us to WTC as one of our coaches, was there, and then 2 other players. I think it was Jeremy and Frank, who were playing our Dark Angels list, your Dark Angels list, Ennis, to the exact model and war gear that you had played.
It's not even a good list. It wasn't even a good list, guys.
It did well. And then Frank was playing Anthony's World Eaters list. You're muted.
Do you ever just feel like we're being copied, Anthony, and that it's not fair?
I just said oops. Yeah. See everyone that played World Eaters after LGT, you fucks.
I know.
I'm not at all surprised. I played into this, and I'll admit first, I misplayed this badly. I went first and gave him way too many charges. But I 100% misplayed this. I went first, I killed a whole bunch of shit, and then I looked at the board state and went, oops.
Oh no, yeah.
Yeah. And then on turn 2, when I had the ability to bring in a whole bunch of stuff, and I brought in a whole bunch of stuff, I killed almost nothing. And yeah.
The great secret of World Eaters is that your opponent will bounce 1 turn off the field, no pains, and saves. There's always 1 turn where they're like, I'll kill the rest now. Yeah.
Mind you, 8-bound are also pretty good when they hit on 2s.
Oh, well, the standard ones, not so much. The Redskin boys do, but
yes.
the regular
I too noticed this, Brian, is that it was the main team was 4 French people and Frank.
No, you know what the best part is his name is Frank Lotzi. His name is spelled Franck.
Okay, those 5 of the most French names ever, and inclusive of French pronunciation rules. Yes.
Yeah, there was a French Jeremy on the team too.
My favorite is that was the best illustration of
why do you guys fight
French
to
pronunciation
keep
just being wild.
They're culturally diverse.
Taxes.
No, actually. Maybe Hydro? I don't know. Anyways, so I played badly. The game was starting to go south. And Chris walked up and he said, "We've won the round." And I always went, okay. And then just stopped. I just said, fine, kill me.
Yeah. Because
I just wanted to go to bed. I'll admit I had not slept well the night before. So round 3, I was very much in the no. Round 4, we played what would have been our hardest round of the event, if not for some extenuating circumstances. We played into Nick Blackburn's Vengeful Spirits. On this team was also Cody. I don't think anyone here has played Cody. Yes, he was the Dark Angels player that you played at. Yeah, that Cody. Except he was playing Eldari. And then also on that team was friend of the show Dan Morris, owner of the Red Dragon. One of their local friends, Steve, and then Zach Como, who was playing guard. Their composition was quite good into us, and we were a little concerned, but we got the pairings that we wanted. And unfortunately, Dan was not feeling exceptionally great. And I went first and very quickly put him in a locker, and we just kind of talked out the end of that game because we determined that, or sorry, a 1 to my 19, and that was on a re-rollable 9-inch charge.
Nice.
Brutal.
So that round we won, and then round 5, this was the one where I was actually a little sad about our pairings, because coming into this event, there were 3 Ottawa teams. There was ourselves, Blunt Force, Drama, there was Vengeful Spirits, and there was Big Dice Energy. I have played for all 3 of those teams now at various times. I was a founding member of Big Dice Energy back in 2021, and then I played for Vengeful Spirits in 2022, and obviously now I'm Blunt Force. And
Just
so
climbing, doing the climb to the point of incompetence ladder, right?
yeah,
Just
basically
keep
just failing
keep
upwards.
joining better teams until you're the worst player on your team. You know.
The goal. I mean, got to
Wanna
get carried
have teams.
somehow. So this round we played, like I said, we played Big Dice Energy. They were the 3rd Ottawa team. Going into this event, we kept joking that we would take away the podium with all Ottawa teams, 1st, 2nd, and 3rd. And then all the Montreal teams would be below us. Unfortunately, because we were playing into them, they were already on a loss. This wasn't possible. So we paired into them. They, by now, had realized that pairing me into CSM was a bad idea. And then they did it because they thought that they could throw Alice, who's a good friend of mine, on the grenade, and the rest of the team would get some better pairings. Unfortunately, that meant their Necrons went into our Dark Angels, who we've already seen how that goes. Our CSM went into their Votan, but their Votan had a bad weekend. So, and then Nick's rather unorthodox but really interesting Necron list ended up into Tim's Eldari. So we got, again, the pairings that we wanted, and Francois got into their Orcs, which, as they both were walking away from the table, they said, this is going to be the hardest 10-10 we've both played for. Their Orcs was very similar to the Orcs that America and us, and I think it was just the 2 of us that brought to WTC, and then the archetype even seeing a lot more, just a whole bunch of trash and trucks. Francois flipped that game on its head and turned it into an 18-2 by basically charging and shooting nonstop and killing boys, because he discovered that unlike pretty much every other stat profile in the game, Gaunts chew through boys really fast because they're twin linked and boys don't have much of an armor save.
And I bet this game is the reason why Francois decided to stop playing it, is because this game definitely gave him RSI.
Yes, 100%. Hilariously, continuing what had happened 2 weeks ago in Quebec City, it was every single one of Francois' opponents that were short on time, not Francois. Because you just spend so much time rolling your own dice, and also with the decision paralysis. I think it was his round 2 opponent just stared at the board for 15 minutes, not knowing what to do. No, it was round 1, because we put him into Thousand Suns, and the Thousand Suns player just come out. What do I do? Do not have the bullets to kill you.
Forward.
Yeah, not backwards.
Just go straight.
Yeah, so we won that round, securing the event. We keep joking that we should show up like Michael Phelps at one of the next events, because we've now won 3 of the 3 that we've showed up to. And I've said this once and I'll say it again. I look forward to the time that we go there and we get crushed, because it means that scene has grown and has built themselves up to the point where they genuinely pose that they're really good.
He said, lying through his teeth.
No, I actually do. I want to lose. We experienced this back in June when we went to Gritting Demon Prime. We lost in the second last round to the team that ended up winning the tournament, because they put in the prep work against us and we did not. And we got served for our hubris. And it was, to me, a really good, what's the word? A good experience in that sense, because it's just like, yeah, we can't just cruise. It was also the 2 weeks before the end of 9th, and no one cared. So kind of hard to get a team to actually put in work.
Was there anything you'd change about what you brought for the next team event?
Well, I mean, the next team event, Marine Oaths will change. So the Dark Angels Gladius list is still pretty good, mind you. Into the comp that we were getting, that we knew we were going into.
That list bounces hard off Necrons if you don't have one heroes. It makes it really hard to pair for.
Yeah, I guess. You'd probably just replace it with an Ironstorm list, to be honest. Because that list is just nasty.
It's also way simpler to play and doesn't require any. Basically requires no pairing resources, besides like keep it away from the one bad matchup it probably has on each team.
Yeah,
And
no,
it
that makes
just
sense.
really isn't very fun to
The
use.
Votan, I mean, I'm going to another team event this upcoming weekend in Saskatoon, the Western Canadian Team Championships, with a completely different team.
It's so far away.
It really is. I think I'm going to spend 6 hours on a plane getting there and still feel like I've gone
Jesus.
nowhere.
Yep.
I mean, that is
Just-
most of Canada. Yes.
To step off the plane into Canada instead of like London.
I think I actually spend the exact same amount of time in the
That's
air
what I'm
getting
saying,
there
yeah.
if I was to go, or very close. Is it further than WTC? I think it's an hour less on the plane because WTC was 7 hours, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
But it's damn close. So I'm looking forward to that. I'm playing with Riley Tremblay, who played with us at WTC this year, John
Nice.
Kilcullen from Goonhammer, and then one of Riley and John's friends, Garrett Olson, who has applied for Team Canada this year. So it's going to be a pretty good time. The changes that I've made to my list is I've dropped a unit of Thunderkin, a single Sagittar, an Iron Master, and added in 10 more Hearthguard and another call.
Is this your diplomat's journey to Western Canada to be
This
like,
is
hey,
the
we're
diplomat's
actually
journey
not
to
biased, I
Western
promise.
Canada. Yeah, I mean, I have for the last year or so said I want to be more connected and more aware of what's going on in Western Canada.
Guys, he's running for office. He's doing the tour.
Yeah. And don't worry. When I go to BC, I'll leave them the salmon salute and they'll be very happy.
The salmon
need to
salute definitely
explain
sounds
now,
like a
bud.
sex move. I'm not gonna lie.
It does.
It does. Jeremy's going to find out
Any
it is
Western
more.
Canadians will
now.
know exactly what that is.
Are you going to throw a salmon? Is that what it is?
No. All right. I'll give the context.
Cass
to this.
got
So-
it.
Yeah.
Apparently it exists.
Oh, I have a
appreciate you,
small
Jeremy.
present for the chat, I think.
I don't know how I feel about this. Why don't you
Oh,
explain what?
yeah.
Oh boy,
Big
he's so
dog.
excited to be on the podcast. There's
He's the
like
best.
no. He's so happy about this.
Dude,
and
he's
it's
so
really funny.
big.
He's
That
so
dog
damn
makes
huge.
Innis look small, by the way. Like in real life, when you see it, it doesn't even make sense. Large
Fergus is
dog.
happy. So the Salmon Arm Salute is like a 40-year-old story now. But it was
I just heard a knocking at the door.
There was one of our previous prime ministers, Pierre Elliott Trudeau, not the father of our current prime minister, Trudeau, was leaving Salmon Arm out in BC, and there were a bunch of protesters who had, I can't remember exactly what their issue was, but they basically showed up to protest him. And he was having a bad day because he just did this as he was leaving. And so that was dubbed the Salmon Arm Salute.
I see.
Okay, there you go. That's way better. That's way not as funny, but also funny.
Yeah,
the same
I mean,
time.
we also have the Shawinigan handshake here.
This is how I know
your
that
country
Minnesota is
is
very
in-
similar to Canada because the names of all of our things are very similar.
The Shawinigan handshake was when, again, former Prime Minister, in this case, Jean Chrétien, put both of his arms around a protester's neck.
That's what we have the police for. The politicians don't have to get involved.
Our politicians just do it themselves.
Yeah.
The Mountie would have to get off a police horse to do it. Just,
It's 100% a sex move. Sam.
Yep, 100% is. Putting your
All
arms
right,
around a protector's
Shawinigan
neck,
handshake.
definitely.
all right, Innes, do you want to talk about your GT win with Chaos
No,
Space
I don't think I
Marines?
can follow that.
All right, we're gonna just go right into show quit. Do the plugs, Innes.
No, I'll very, very briefly touch on. No, I talked about my GT during the opening. It's fine. It was a 30-person GT. It was great fun. The guys put on a good show. It was cool to win it with Chaos Space Marines, but it wasn't super it wasn't anything particularly massively notable. It was just a fun event. It was a great time, but it was a local GT. I'll give my favorite thing about the event. The top 4 tables are in a different room, and it's so much quieter, except during lunch, because that's where lunch is. So then I went through to the other tables and sat there and read a book because I was a little overwhelmed. Good tournament. Had a great time. During the entirety of lunch, Brian kept putting stuff on my book because he was like a cat that needed to be entertained and would not let me sit and read. He had to at all times be entertained, despite the fact that there were 6 other people in the room with us. The must harass us.
Yep, that sounds right.
Man is a giant cat. It's incredible. I love him. No, I will very quickly do the plugs. So Thank you, everybody, for being with us so far for episode 66, Ironstorming the Meta. If you're enjoying the show, please do feel free to leave a like, a comment, a subscription, a review on whatever your podcast app of choice is. All that good stuff. It helps us at Tom with discoverability and getting to do even more of the stuff that we love to do. Please do check out all of the cool other things that we're doing on the network. That's X&1 and End of the Matrix. This is an X&1 week, so in 2 days' time, as of our current recording, it will be the next episode of X&1, which I believe Tim and Cliff are going to be going through the new Christmas battle forces and talking about how you can make armies from them, what kind of cost savings they get, and all that kind of stuff. So it should be a super interesting episode if you're, looking to get started on competitive play with one of those armies or looking to expand like the things that you play for that. Besides that, X&1, that's X&1. End of the Matrix just did their most recent one on the French team qualifier, and that came out last Wednesday. That I believe just went on podcast apps now, and the next one for that should be in a week's time, Wednesday as of the time of speaking. If you are interested in supporting the show in any way, shape, or form, you can check out patreon.com/statcheck. $5 a month gets you access to all of our awesome Discord backstage stuff, including the team league. We've just launched off the Vicheck League with 21 teams of 5 players. So you have 105 people playing in our team league. I could not get turned to keep it working until I added buy players. I finally figured it out. It just wouldn't let me do it. Won't auto-populate a buy. You have to manually add a player to do a buy with. 2010 software kicked my ass for about an hour while I figured that out. It was great. But yeah, that's all sorted now. So we have $1,000 Canadian prize pool for that because, frankly, Red Dragon are far too generous. Speaking of which, if you're part of that Patreon, you'll also get a 20% discount code to red-dragon.ca, where you can also see all of the cool stuff like our merchandise, soon coming, our mats. We'll also have dice coming back in stock before Christmas, I'm pretty sure was the thing on that. So yeah,
those mats go hard.
Those mats go super hard. Red-dragon.ca for that. Saltar Games on Etsy is where you can see all of the things like our Oath of Moment tokens, Battleshock tokens, wound counters, all that kind of stuff. Little like widgets for measuring coherency and deep strike and all that sort of stuff. That's Saltar Games on Etsy. If you're interested in improving your own personal gameplay, check out stat-check.com/coaching or drop us an email at coaching@stat-check.com if you're looking for help from either myself or Typhus in terms of getting better at any aspect of 40k, whether that's a beginner, a newcomer, whether you want help for your list for Atlanta. I promise there's only a little bit of conflict of interest there. Whatever you're looking for, we can provide. So do check that out. Anything else? If you're coming to the Cali Cup and you've not considered coming along to the classes that Anthony and I are running on the Thursday, please do check it out. We would love to have you along. We recently did drop the prices on those to try and get some more numbers in because it would be awesome to have people along. Check that out on Eventbrite. The link should be in the description. Come say hi to us at Cali Cup. Check out the Cali Cup stream where there will be a stat check panel running on it. We're not 100% sure exactly what quality it's going to take yet, but Nathan and Jeremy will be doing a bunch of behind the scenes stuff on that, which should be super cool. I'll actually let them chat a tiny bit about it at the end of this. I think that's all I've got. I don't think I've forgotten anything. If I have, it clearly was only kind of probably important. Jeremy, Nathan, do you want to tell us a little bit about the Cali Cup stat stuff that you're planning on doing?
Sure. So I'll be the voice and Jeremy's going to do some back end stuff for us. And basically, I'm going to do a bunch of stats readings for you on a round by round basis where we're going to talk kind of about interesting things that are coming and going, some of the top performers and stuff like that. And I will be performing kind of a similar function to what we did with the WTC desk, but more focused on the stats stuff that I was doing. So I will be the voice of stats for the Cali Cup on a live basis, which will be fun. Me and Jeremy will probably do some random bullshittery kind of things where we add like who brought the most of something or something like that. I don't know. We'll do some random nonsense. It'll be fun because what is the fun of statistics if we don't just make up some shit and make you all listen to me say it? Yeah. So that's it. Watch the stream. I'll be there. It'll be fun. Yay. I don't know what else to do with that segment. So there you go.
We'll do some good fun things with it. This is very much experimental on our side. Kind of going off of what we learned at WTC. But yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited to work with the DXPZ boys. Excited to, unfortunately, follow from home. I can't make the trip myself, but I will be doing my best to keep everyone as up to date as I am.
It'll be fun. We promise. And now,
show
questions. There are actually a lot this week, which was part of why I tried to hustle us through a little bit. There aren't a lot in YouTube chat, so YouTube chat, get on that. Show questions. If you want to ask a question and have it answered on the show, the ways to do it are to join the Patreon and ask them in the show questions thread that is in our show questions channel. Otherwise, we will look at and talk about every single super chat. And if I see a question in chat, I will try to have it answered, but I make no promises if it's not super chatted because I'm it's hard to highlight those sometimes. But we're going to start with Discord questions. That one guy, John, has the first question, which is Innis broken? ? What data-driven nerfs can GW implement to nerf the Innis menace? Jeremy, what do you think?
Innis cannot put both hands on the table at any point, or he has a 10-point battle point penalty each time. Let the gorilla arms happen.
Also, Innis, you might be muted. I don't know.
No, I
No.
just didn't want to make noises while
Oh,
I
okay.
did that kind of
Okay. I was
visualization.
just
That
like,
just for-
just making sure. You never know. Our tech is vaguely admechy for prayers and spirits. Terry
better
asks for the
chance
next
of-
question, which is,
That won't work.
oh,
I mean, that would destroy his free time, so that might actually work.
Yeah, but it has to
True.
happen.
Oy.
Terry asks, all in the spirit of Halloween. So we have 4 questions. First, what is your favorite Halloween candy? Not question. God.
Rockets.
Starburst. Rockets must be a
Rockets?
Canadian candy.
Yeah.
Like-
Hold on a second.
They sell missiles on Halloween in Canada.
That
What
sounds-
the fuck?
that sounds
Yeah, that sounds
far
like a much
more
more
American.
American
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you
yeah,
not?
I
do
love a good
Halloween
iron
in
brew
this?
chew, and yeah,
Okay, so all right, this is a fun one.
some
You know them as
Fudge
Smarties,
Oh.
except Smarties here are candy coated chocolate.
yeah. That's what Smarties
That's
are here as
very
well.
different.
Yeah, yeah. They're between here and the UK. Things are actually pretty similar in terms
Yeah.
of candies. But yeah, we call them
What's
rockets
a US
because
Smartie?
It's like a disc of sugar, basically.
yeah,
It's
Are they like a
sugar
flying
disc.
saucer?
No.
Oh, they're like little
they're
just
like
discs.
really
Yeah.
tiny.
yeah. It's actually a concave, like it's a little puck that's concave on both sides, and they're colored different colors, and they're just basically packed sugar.
Yeah, they have like
They're
the
kind of
texture
chalky.
of-
They're tasty.
Yeah. I was gonna say they have the same texture
Yeah,
as
I
chalk.
kind of.
No.
Oh, okay, right. Yeah, like Parmavirus. So like, yeah, okay, got it. Yeah. Okay, we're good. We're good. I've
All
caught
right.
up. It's like
We're
the
gonna
Mars Bar
continue.
Milky Way controversy every time that I remember about. It drives
Oh,
me nuts.
Jesus.
Next.
Yeah, if everyone wants to go on a trip, look up British, Canadian, and American sweets and figure out what is what.
What is the worst Halloween candy you received when trick or treating?
Candy corn.
I got a toothbrush once. It's not
actually,
candy,
no.
but
Yeah, I
did
got
get
one
a
of those little like
toothbrush.
flossing
How do
picks.
you people remember going trick or treating? I've not been trick or treating in like 15 years, and I
Yeah, it's
genuinely
been like 30
have
years for me.
absolutely no idea. Like what I couldn't tell you a single thing that
It's
happened.
got to
during
be
trick-or-treating.
butterscotch, right? That old people ass candy.
No, that's oh sorry, those are Werther's originals. up
Werther's
here. I don't know if they
originals.
actually-
Yeah,
I
yeah.
would be thrilled to get some Werther's
Those are
originals.
amazing. I
also-
love those.
We have like second tier where there's originals basically that they give you that aren't even Werther's originals. Werther's originals are okay.
Am I about to go look up
Candy corn is
Michigan
like the
Werther-
worst candy though that you could ever get in your Halloween candy stash. But toothbrush is the one that I remember the most because I remember being offended by the toothbrush.
Yeah.
You knew
What
that
is
was
your
the dentist's
best?
house?
What is your best Halloween costume you wore for trick or treating under parties? I have a whole stormtrooper armor set that goes with that helmet, and I've been in a parade with it. So
I
yeah.
thought that was a kink thing. Sorry.
Well,
I mean,
It does have a lot of straps, bud.
there you go.
You can't miss that shot though. That's
Ah! Well, actually, it's rather important that you miss that shot, isn't it? Like, unless you want to kill there. Anyway.
well, there's lots involved.
I'm sorry
in
I
that.
brought it up, guys. Let's move
talk
on.
about- What's the worst Halloween costume you have all seen? The worst Halloween costume? I don't know, man. There's a lot of like
Wow.
things that are sexy that probably don't need to be sexy.
Canada's
I
Prime
think I saw
Minister.
like
So
Sam
no one was
asked-
going to say that? Come on.
our
Sam
current
Lemon-
prime minister in blackface.
Yeah.
all of those are
Sorry, not
costumes that we
blackface,
should
but
just never do.
Yeah.
Yes, those are the worst Halloween costumes. The ones that are actually offensive.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right. Sam Lemon asks, you've all been assigned to help promote the WTC to new heights and as such are going to follow in the footsteps of the never controversial Olympic Games. Question number
At least
one,
you didn't
what would
choose
the
FIFA?
WTC mascot be for 2024? A Belgian waffle.
No, it's in
no.
Belgium, so it's going to be the little boy peeing.
Oh,
It's Liam VSL falling over somewhere.
It's going to be the canals somehow that you're not supposed to swim in.
It's Liam
That's what it's
VSL
gonna
falling
be.
in the canal with a big old Belgian beer in his hand.
I was gonna
That's
say a
the-
giant mug of beer somehow that would have to be involved because that's the WTC.
He's
at its
falling
heart.
into the beer canal. There we go.
Yeah, there you go.
And it's full of people giving
Nay.
each other weirdly long hugs. That's
Question number two, what activities would take place during either the opening and or closing ceremony of the WTC? There's already kind of that. Like the teams come in. There's a lot of cheering and stuff like
would
that.
like the old tug of war contests to come back. That's all I'm saying.
Oh man, we would smash that.
You got Mork back again?
No, there's just 20 of us.
No, you
It's
only get
Park-
eight.
the 8 players.
If you only
but-
get your 8.
Oh, then it's touch and go. This year will be all right.
I mean, would Anthony's feet touch the ground holding the rope?
Yeah, I would just be in the front. What are you new?
Just picture him dangling between the two people at the front. All right. Number 3 is what would the WTC theme song be? Each country would get a theme song, obviously. Come on.
Yeah, come on.
We might be bringing a piper this year, so that's the goal.
Oh, fuck yeah. I love it. Everything about that is
We might have a
amazing.
coach who happens to play bagpipes, so we're
Ah,
seeing
yeah.
if we can make it happen.
Is it the small funny one?
No,
Oh,
he might be playing for us this year.
oh fair.
All right.
Okay.
Preston asks, which one of the winter boxes is each host?
We are all
Anthony's
world
the
leaders
world
on this
leaders one.
blessed day.
Everyone just wants to be the world leaders one because it's the best, but that's mine.
Yeah, the World Leaders box is goals. It's true.
I mean, I like the Votan one because the Votan one has actually like good variety and has things, with the exception of the land fort, that you'll use.
If you staple the battle force with the like combat patrol, isn't that just like a Votan army?
That's a discount. That's like, I think it's like 1,200 points now because of how much the points went down on everything.
Find out more on this week's Exen one.
It's
Next.
true.
Mm.
I'm probably going to buy the Tyranids battle force, but I so don't need more Hive Tyrants. So
It's the weirdest box because all the sculpts in that box are amazing, but the utility of the box is not super great.
it's just like I didn't buy any of the new infantry stuff. I could use a second Norn, but I own 13 Hive Tyrants.
That is
Well, you
so
can have
many
an
Hive
unlucky
Tyrants.
number of them.
Well, one of them's the Swarm Lord. It doesn't really count. And the only one I want, I don't have the winged forge-rolled one. I only have that guy on foot. So that's the
Oh,
only Hive Tyrant that I use.
Sean
Just to
has
make
that.
one?
I bought him. I have the wings, but I built him as a walking one because I needed a walking one, and I was just like, I'll just build. And now I can't find another one. I'm like, wish I
Yeah,
just played with
Sean
it.
has the winged one. I saw it in person when we were at
It's
his.
so pretty.
Dude, it's
They're
so
cool.
sick. Why did they stop making them like that? What are we doing? Such a better sculpt.
All right. The next question is from Sean, and then in parentheses it just says army, which I'm not sure if that means he's in the army or not, but
An
maybe.
army.
Dude's considering whether he should play guard or not for his next tournament. Don't do
And no,
it, bro.
it's just from a wide collective of Sean's.
There you go. It's the army of Sean's all asking this question. General question for the lads. I'm attending a charity tournament that allows legends units. I was thinking of bringing in Achilles or Contemptor with twin linked Volkite for Dev Wound's goodness. What legends unit would you bring? Any army.
I've never looked at the legends stuff, so I do. not
Anthony, you
know.
would bring
Whatever-
a greater brass scorpion.
Okay.
That's what I would
Whatever the
actually take
biggest
because
thing
that
you can
model
use
is
the Nurgle Strat
awesome.
on.
Oh, the
The
stupid super plane, right? That works. Yeah.
The
I
greater
do
blade
love
trunk.
the Greater Brass Scorpion so much, though. That model is fucking amazing, and it's terrible that it's got put into legends.
Alex House, CSM Falchion, make it Nurgle.
There
Yeah.
you go. McWhirp says, "Happy birthday,
I'm
Ines.
sorry.
How old are you?"
I am 27, and I would like to go back to the previous question.
Sure.
Volkite Contemptor with Mercy's weakness.
Hmm?
Bring it back.
Sure. Again, all over
Oh.
again. We're just right back to Mercy's
So
weakness.
let me recount what that would give you. If you're shooting someone below your starting strength, so like a vehicle who had lost a wound or a unit that had lost a model, you would get crits on 5s. If you're standing next to the Tech Marine, which you're always going to be, you get lethals, and then you get sustained. And then your guns are twin linked.
Yeah, and then you do it with the
Cool.
woman,
Yeah.
Oh,
and you just reroll for 5s.
awesome. I love it. So many explodes. Second question from McWhirp is: New Marines this week appear to have had a bad win rate, but a bunch of placings and event wins. Is the new book bad or good?
Yep.
Both.
Come back
it's
after Atlanta and we'll let you know.
It's 0.5% different than the summed Marine win rate from the previous stuff, so it's probably the same.
It's real good in non-Codex hands.
It's going to go through a bunch of experimentation, and people are going to try and figure out how to make different variants of it work. And then eventually there will be a couple of builds that will come out of it that are fairly solved, and those will be the ones that are good. For now, I would be looking at things like Dark Angels and Blood Angels Ironstorm, Black Templars Ironstorm, Ironstorm Ultramarines, Ironstorm, Iron, the episode name, Ironstorm.
The next question is from JS, the usual Canadian. Is there anything more satisfying than throwing 4 grenades at the Incarn and watching it disappear?
No. Throwing 4 grenades in typhus.
I think more satisfying would be throwing 2 grenades at the Incarn and killing it.
Killing it in tank shock with a transport.
Killing it with
that
grenade,
reminds-
then tank shock from a Land Raider.
That reminds me, round 5 of my team event, I shot at a 10-man chosen unit with a attached Lord with the Hearthguard, picked up everything, and the Lord was left on 3 wounds, and the Lord made all of the saves afterwards, and I was getting a little concerned that Lord was going to still be around. So I charged it with a Sagittar and killed it with tank shock.
Nice.
Disrespectful.
Very. Just got run over by the wheels.
The next question is from Andrew M. Any thoughts on how to make Drukhari a bit more competitive? What sort of detachment rule do you think would help?
I mean, make their melee units not shit.
That would help. Make the Coven units actually tanky would also be nice. I don't know. Maybe the Coven detachment will just be everything gets a better feel no pain or something. I don't know, man.
Army-wide advance in charge?
That'd be crazy.
Maybe improve all the invulnerable saves back to a 5-up invuln at least. I don't know, man. There's so much stuff.
Both codexes that come out have access to conditional or unlimited army-wide advance in charge. There is no reason to think that won't continue with every other book.
It's going to be
just put 9th power from pain into one of the detachments, please.
There you go.
No, because power from you got to give it a different name now.
Strength
Combat
from
drugs.
Suffering.
There you go.
Call it combat drugs. You just get more drugs as you go.
No. Make it so that they roll 11 dice, and they get to choose 2 or 3 of those sets of dice to give them a round by round bonus.
Blood for the blood god and power from pain together.
Drugs for the drugs god. They made Slanesh.
We just call it for Colmarok.
Oh. Sure. Okay. I think it's pronounced Gamora, but okay.
Yeah. To be like Sodom and Gomorrah, probably, yes.
Yeah.
Probably.
If there's anything in the lore that's close to Gamora,
it's Gamora, yeah. All right, that one guy, John, says, please defend candy corn as the best Halloween candy. That's not a question, so we're not going to do it. Will asks, could you
what is candy corn? I don't answer
like
the
this
question.
Waxy,
they'll give you some at Cali Cup because it's a week after Halloween.
It's the day after Halloween is when we land.
Cool. Sorted.
There'll be lots of candy corn. Will asks, could you achieve more distance by kicking or hammer throwing a Nurgle? Nurgling, not a Nurgle, not the whole thing.
I would say
the whole god.
I would say hammer throwing, and the reason for that is I think when you kick it, it would just spletch everywhere.
I like the sound effect for that.
You can't
like
punt
comic book style spletch.
I think you can punt them.
I would say kicking, but only because I don't trust myself to hammer throw it forwards. I'm not sure if that would count against me.
Oh, actually, the centrifugal force could actually just rip it apart as well.
Yeah. I think
you getting splattered with Nurglings like above your head. At least if it's down there, it's on your feet.
It's like a wet paper bag holding in goop. You spin it in a circle, the paper bag rips, the goop goes out.
Guys.
All right. Preston asks, could you walk us first-time captains through the pairing process or point us to a resource? Thanks.
I think End of the Matrix have done an episode on this.
End of the Matrix have done both 5-man and 8-man pairings.
There you go.
The episodes are actually titled 5-man pairings and 8-man pairings. So go check out the 5-man pairings episode with Typhus, because they were talking. Was it the ITT? No,
that sounds right.
It was
Might have
one
been
of the
Alpine.
big. It might have been Alpine, but they were talking about one of the bigger 5-man team events and how they approached pairings. They also talked about how they approached Lewis comps, which is a little late for most of you, but can help in the future rounds of 5-check League since we are not.
It is called Enter the Matrix, 5-man teams pairings process deep dive. And if you're one of the next 3 people to watch it, you could be the 1,000th person to watch it. So
Go do that.
There you go.
War Boss Autark Ben asks, in honor of Innes's birthday, what are your hosts' go-to birthday meals? What type of cake do you finish it with? So meal and dessert.
you just start.
I like going to the Argentinian steakhouse and getting essentially the same steak platter that I got with Alex Taus when he was here, but eating it
Nice.
myself.
Excellent.
And then I like key lime pie and like lemony based desserts, basically. So like a lemon custard cake is like my favorite kind of dessert. Or an all else fails, an Oreo themed dessert. There you go.
Jeremy?
Local restaurant Taj. It's an Indian restaurant. Butter chicken. Nice and simple, but it is so good. And then I'm actually a real simple guy when it comes to cake. Just a nice vanilla cake with a chocolate frosting on it.
Alex is yelling at Nathan.
Alex is currently yelling at Nathan. What the fuck? We couldn't finish that together across 2 sittings. How do you do this in one?
I don't know, man. Birthday's a
With
special
gusto.
day.
I
Anthony.
imagine that Nathan is not even approximating sober when he takes that steak platter down.
I also might be like a couple edibles deep or something.
That's what
you
I'm
know,
saying.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
Anthony, you're up. Birthday dinner and dessert.
In an ideal world, it's the steak place that both Innes and Jeremy have been to at this point.
Ooh, yeah, that place is amazing.
Yeah, that place slam jams. And then dessert wise, that place also makes dope desserts, so I just do it all in one go.
Nice.
Reasonable. See, I'm more of like I don't really do like going out for dinner stuff like that. It's not really been a thing. But like a nice home steak. But we had mashed potatoes and sausages today. It was really good. And then I'm
Nice.
generally like whatever cake has the most icing on it. I'm a big I like fondant icing. It's
Oh, you're one of those.
I don't. It's like outside of birthday, won't touch it. But birthday day, I just want whatever's got the most of that. If it's got like weird little bits on the side that are like in the shape of like horns or like decoration bits that are more fun icing, that's what I want. Preferably like
Love it.
don't really mind if it's chocolate or like vanilla or whatever, but something hearty, meat, something like that, and then cake with icing does me perfect.
What about
Oh,
edible ball bearings?
No, thank you.
What?
Are you talking about those little sugar spheres that are like
They're
really
really
hard?
fine,
God, I
but they're
hate
better on
those
like
things.
ice cream or something. I would rather have them on like ice cream than cake.
I mean, you don't have like a nice scoop of like vanilla bean ice cream with your cake?
No, you just have the cake on a napkin that you eat at the sofa while the dog watches jealously because he's already had his bit. That's
See, I do it with like 2 scoops of vanilla, and then put the plate out for the cats to lick.
Oh man, I know people like to throw like their cake in the microwave for like 30 seconds to like make it nice and hot, and then put the ice cream with it, so you get like a kind of nice melty ice cream, hot chocolate kind of vibe from the cake.
I feel like 30 seconds. I feel like 30 seconds is a long time to put. Cake
Not
in
like
the
30 seconds, like
No,
10
it is.
seconds. Like realistically, you're just like giving it a big zap,
I
bud.
just frisbee my cake in the microwave for 30 seconds. It just explodes. I'm like, oh, well,
All right. What is Innes's favorite treat/drink? When we end up in spoons on Friday, will Innes commit to posting his table number for the community to buy him said treat/drink?
he fucking better.
I mean, someone at that
100%
table will.
if we end up in a spoons, but I can't promise where we're going to end up on Friday because I genuinely don't. I've never been out in Nottingham before. I don't really know what the scene is like, but I've been
That's your
told it's good
birthday
things.
party day, so you better end up in a spoons.
I'll do my best. As for what my favorite is, I am a big fan of a vodka and coke, but I won't say no to like pretty much anything that's not got sambuca or absinthe. I will drink. So,
Yeah.
and honestly, the absinthe is only sometimes.
Yeah.
3 steak.
Is Jeremy your little butter chicken? Oh, fuck.
Damn it, Eric!
See, now we need to find out what Tim and Nathan and Typhus Pumbaa and Cliff,
Cliff.
what they are, because I hope they're all steak boys too, and it's just 8 steak boys and little butter chicken.
All right, we're gonna keep going.
Stat
Oh,
check
man,
sure
where
is going
was
to be a
it in the
little butter chicken when we
questions?
eventually get them done, Jeremy.
Griggs asks, could you give a list for we might not do a list for each of the 3 Space Marine detachments, but maybe we can give a quick summary of the units that would go in them. Let's talk about Ironstorm, Firestorm, and Gladius, and kind of the units you would put in those armies, right?
Whirlwinds and so for all of them, it's whirlwinds and then let's figure out what the and is.
Ironstorm, it's Redemptors, probably Ballistus, and probably some form of Gladiator.
Dude, I think the ballistas
Marines.
have been dog shit in testing, haven't they? I feel like everyone
Yep,
I
they've
talk
been
to that
utterly
starts with them
terrible.
takes them out.
Yeah, but they're dirt cheap, and they are
But
a fuck ton
they're-
of wounds to pull
They're
through.
dirt cheap and dirt cheaply terrible. Put better
Yeah.
units in, guys.
Yeah, they just don't do anything. It's been the read that I've had on them. Like they're just
Plasma,
not.
Plasma Scepters.
Plasma Inceptors and Firestorm.
Plasma Inceptors. I mean, Plasma Inceptors, and you just start with like 2 squads of Plasma Inceptors, 2 squads of Scouts, and a squad of Infiltrators, and all those detachments, and you won't be upset.
Yeah.
Yep.
And 2 to 3 Whirlwinds.
Tim's a steak boy. Sorry, Jeremy.
I mean, I could have told you that. Come on.
Yeah, we knew, but
I feel like Cliff is also going to be a steak boy. I won't lie.
Oh,
Cliff might
This
be like a
is-
vegan steak boy. Like
No.
No. After
know he's
after
not, but-
Bacchanal, he's definitely a steak boy.
I need Tim to look at Instagram when he has a minute because I sent him the most ridiculous thing I've ever seen in my life, and it's in Miami. It is a restaurant that serves a beef case. They come over to you with like a
When
fucking,
they sing in lights, yes.
and they open it and there's a fucking steak. It's the dumbest shit of all time, and I need to do it.
Definitely, 100%. All right, next is Scott M, who says, how is the faction win rate decided when multiple detachments exist within a book, each with individual win rates? Once we have the data to talk about detachments, we will talk about detachment-based data.
Hold on, Ben. Why do you know how much the beef case costs?
That's Shay's Ben. That's Shay's Ben you're talking about. Ben knows all things about the restaurant industry.
Well,
Anyway,
You're not wrong.
The way at the moment, if you go into the metadata dashboard, if you look on the right, you can see individual win rates by detachment already. If you go into one, it'll show you the win rates by them.
So I think
broadly, it'll be
higher. I think this is a higher level
We'll
question.
have it
Actually,
higher
Scott is asking how the overall faction win rate is determined, and the overall faction win rate is quite simply how many games has that faction played, and then how many games have they won, how many have they lost, how many have they drawn, and then win rate is games won with half of their draws divided by their total number of games played. That's win rate for any particular faction, for any particular sub faction. So if you look up and you see, Marines have 7 different detachments right now for Codex Marines. We don't take the win rate of each one of those detachments and then average it across to get a faction win rate. We just take the number of games that army has played. Keeps it from being skewed too heavily by one, or also just, being too skewed the other way. Which is always why you want to look at sub-faction win rates, in this case, detachment win rates. Because as we saw in last edition, sometimes Iron Hands are dog shit, and then their one good sub-faction is amazing.
Case to Belgium. Sorry. I don't think you actually can bring meat from the United States to most of mainland Europe. I don't think.
We could probably figure out acquiring the things to make beef case
In
Belgium,
Europe,
right?
yes.
It's just so funny that
There are a couple of really good meat restaurants in Mechelen that you could probably if you were to translate it properly to them.
Bring your own beef case.
Yeah,
Bring
He
your
just
own
wants to
case.
bring
Tim
the
gets it.
vibe.
Tim gets the idea.
He
I
wants
don't-
to bring
yeah,
the
I
vibe
don't
of
care
beef
about the
case. I
steak.
understand. Okay.
I don't care about the steak inside the beef case. I just want a restaurant full of people to sing the word beef case at me while they display my stupid nonsense.
Fergus is
Oh,
at the door
God.
behind me again, and
All
I
right.
feel very bad for him, but I'm not letting him in again.
1 second. The next question is from Derek. Does Innes like his birthday? And if he does, did he have a good birthday this year?
I'm broadly fairly ambivalent on my birthday. It's mostly just the day. It's not really like a thing I really put a lot of stock into. But yeah, I've had a good day. I've been busy, I've been working, but nothing bad.
Good.
Nice.
Preston's question is, what the hell is going on with Drukari? It's a small number of people, and they had a good weekend. Congratulations,
knows.
Drukari.
Yeah, we'll see what happens in the next couple of weeks. Maybe they finally figured it out. I will say that this weekend there were a lot of Void Raven bombers, so maybe that's the trick.
Just the one good data sheet in that book.
Jesus Christ, Duda.
All right. How do you guys like Duda's new Eldar list for this weekend's sizable teams event in Poland?
All right,
is
let's
that?
read
And
the list for
Okay,
everyone's
The
I got it
list-
open. Let me drum my drum. So it's an Autarch Wayleaper with the Phoenix Gem, Fuegan,
Sure.
the Vizark,
Yeah.
the Incarn, a Troopmaster with Fate's Messenger, Yvrain, a Wave Serpent, 2 Falcons, 5 Fire Dragons, a Night Spinner, 3 Shard Runners, 5 Swooping Hawks, 11 players, 5 players, and 5 players.
He
What?
lost a bet. That's all I got.
Also, somebody's alarming.
That's Anna in a different room.
Okay.
And Brian is
Yeah.
100% right. I absolutely love like being able to do things for my birthday, but the actual day itself isn't super like. I like the justification, not the day itself. That's more of a.
Yeah, it's a good enough reason.
I don't know what to think of that list because it's very weird. It's a very.
I'm going
strange
to not
list.
think about that list. It's okay. I don't have.
We're gonna go to
It's
the next
Poland,
part of
it's not real.
Typhus's question thought stream, which is if Brian's betrayal of the Scottish WTC team was to be portrayed as a historic betrayal, which would you compare it to? Judas and Christ, Brutus and Caesar, Guy Fawkes and England.
Oh no,
I like Brutus and Caesar just because I think that's the funniest one.
Where did we lost
Boys,
Ennis to
Benedict
that?
Arnold.
He's
No, no.
Benedict Arnold.
Benedict Arnold. Oh,
no, Braveheart and whoever it was that betrayed him.
Mel Gibson.
Yeah, exactly. He's American, right?
He is now.
Bryant has a question for Anthony. What tips would you give to a World Eaters player going second in general? And then do you have any specific tips going into gunline armies like Tau, Chaos Space Marines, and Eldar?
I would recommend posting up in the middle as much as possible and setting up in deployment so that your scout moves can take you to safe places, even if you go specifically if you go second, because you don't need to scout into safety going first. You scout into danger. Actually, I mean that's most of it. Like World Eaters isn't actually a particularly aggressive army. Like 80% of the time, you're doing a lot of like, I'm gonna stand behind these walls, and if you get anywhere close to these walls, I'm gonna kick you until you stop moving. But the most of the time as World Eaters, it's just like, all right, we are in the center, we are behind the walls, there's nothing else to do. Draw some cards and let it ride.
So you're less trying to like kill your opponent and more trying to just control space.
Yeah, and I mean, you do that super effectively, and if they let you charge their home field, sweet, but probably not.
Griggs has more questions. I'm new to the game and playing Space Marines. Every month since the 10th launched, there's a different boxes that I should have 3 of or 6 of in order to keep up with the meta. I cannot keep up. I'm not even done assembling before the meta shifts again. I'm thinking that I should give up running a full-on meta list for a few years while my collection grows. Is this how this game is supposed to work, or am I doing something wrong?
So the thing I have very strong opinions on this, so I'm just going to answer and then someone else can correct me. Marines are the worst starter army in the game. It's like not even close. Marines aren't actually an army. They're a models as a service army, much like software as a service. You are never done with... Yeah, yep, bang. Tim gets
Tim's
it.
got it.
I mean, Tim's heard me yell about this a bunch because twice I've tried to start Space Marines and failed. And that's as someone that like basically doesn't pay for plastic because of tournament winnings and store credit. Like it's just not worth it. If you're new, start a low model count army like Chaos Knights or Imperial Knights or Custodes or something like that. Something in that vein that's interesting to you, and pick a meta list and play it until your eyes bleed. That is how you should like start competitive 40k. Starting with the faction that you think looks the coolest or is the coolest is the single worst piece of advice that new players are given. I think that advice was dope before COVID when the game was less competitive.
I think 2 things on that one, just before we wrap it up. For the one thing of before COVID, before data slates, that was good advice.
Sure.
And books didn't change for 5 years, 100%. But once we moved towards like the 8th edition data slate model, things changed quickly. Space Marines are not an army that I would recommend to anyone ever, frankly. Playing Space Marines means that you already own the HQs and the troops for whatever the new list is. That's literally all playing Space Marines. For as far as the like pick an army that you like, pick an army you like from the range of reasonable armies, right? Like you're going to play you're going to have more fun building and painting the models you like, but pick from the set of ones that are reasonable. Like if you think Votann look cooler than World Eaters, play Votann, right? Like
Go
it makes
nuts.
sense,
Yeah.
but don't play. But like do some research first on like how much effort it takes to play an army. So as to your like Space Marines, the Codex has just come out. We just went through the index into Codex process. It is unlikely there's going to be a ton more change from here, other than because of the meta shifts. Even with data slates, it's unlikely there's going to be a lot. So you are probably past the worst of it. But you're not past all of it. It will change.
I mean, between slates and the non-codex compliance all getting books, dude, it's not like you're not even
close. No,
you're not even like 1/8 of the way through or whatever, right? Like there's still like 6 books that have to come out for that army.
Yep.
I will say as well that the second part is probably the part that's most irritating this person, which is that they're used to drafting Magic, where you pay $15 and can play competitive right away, right? And unfortunately, I didn't get. It's fine. It wasn't part of the question. But the general advice I think you guys gave was very good.
Yeah. You're not doing anything wrong. This is just a different type of hobby. You're coming out with a lot more stuff at the end of it than you are in Magic, but it just doesn't feel like it because you're not using it for competitive at this point.
Right now you're getting scammed though. Like, and that's totally valid to feel that way because you're.
Go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, I just like you're like that's a really rough spot to be in as someone that's trying to start it new. In fact, I feel so bad about that if you hit me up, I will help you fix that. For no money.
Take the man up on this. He will help you out. He is serious. And I mean, I'm in a similar position. I've been playing competitively for 4.5 years now. Marines were my first army, and I'm still buying and painting Marine models.
Yeah, like
I have 1,000 points of Marines on my painting desk right now.
I'm taking,
and I have 20,000 painted. Yeah. So
I'm taking Marines to an RTT in a couple of weeks. I'm borrowing over 1,000 points of it. I've been playing Marines since 2008. Like, sorry, it's the way it is.
Say that the thing to remember most is that this game has like a lag where you're trying to catch up to being competitive. You're not going to go from 0 to 2,000 points in like the same time frame if you're painting all of your own models, especially and assembling them yourself. Like that's just not a thing that you're going to do. It takes,
especially if you're still learning how to hobby efficiently. Which, if you're interested in learning more, you should check out X and One because they talk about those kind of things.
Yeah.
Yep. We're going to go on to the next.
We're such shills.
question. Yeah, shills for ourselves, which is fine.
Because, that's fine.
Yeah, whatever. Ethan asks, should my Erst Redemptor Dread, I'm assuming Ironstorm Redemptor Dreads, be scared of Tower Votann shooting?
Yes.
Respectful, but not scared. You can't play scared. You have to play respectful.
Yeah, you can't just be like, shoot me with everybody, because then you will die.
Don't get shot for free. If you're going to get shot, make it have a reason and make it cost them something.
Mm-hmm. The next question is from Bryant. What do you guys think about the most recent Meta Watch stat-wise? Anything in particular you find good that Stu said? Anything bad? Do you guys think orcs deserve a nerf per their data?
I think the idea that you nerf orcs is fucking clown shoes right now, but like, come on, son. Like, honestly, I think that orcs need to get their WA back to in their command phase. It's a huge fucking difference, man.
I know it's a huge deal, and I know it's a huge difference. I don't think that necessarily needs to change. But at the same time, I'm also of the opinion that you don't need to touch orcs right now.
I mean, I just like that thing in particular feels so garbage that it's like totally fair if they were to change that. I don't think it would like make them insane.
I think it'd be really funny to nerf them. So I'm on board.
I think that GW needs to give us some transparency about how they're collecting their data in order to correctly assess what their data quality is. Like, that's just a thing. We would need to be told how they get their data in order to evaluate the data quality. It's different than the data that we do, but our data is specifically focused on 5+ round, 25+ player events. So our data is a little different, and GW's job with those meta watches is not just focusing on tournament play specifically at the high level. They're also looking at how to keep the game balanced for people who are not playing at events, essentially. So their goal is different than like probably we want it to be. I like that they do the meta watch and that they have their people actually comment about game balance. Like, that's cool. Yeah, I don't always like the words that come out of their mouth when they talk about game balance, but like, it is what it is. I'm glad that they talked about bringing up factions and that they talked about the fact that the nerfs to some factions were more than they were supposed to be. I give the MetaWatch a B-.
Yeah.
Good job. You pass in graduate school. Congratulations.
I don't necessarily agree with the idea that Custodes got nerfed too much, but I guess we'll see as time goes on.
Yeah, we'll find out.
I think Custodians got nerfed the exact right amount, but Eldar and CSM didn't get nerfed enough for that to matter for the overall health of Custodians in the game.
Yeah.
So Scott asks an important question, which is, what's the likelihood the Children's City Rug playmat is going to get made? We're going to make it. Just you wait.
Low, but not zero.
Yeah.
It's not high, like 100%, but it's definitely higher than 10%. How about that?
The more people ask about it, the more likely we are to make it happen. That's basically the...
Yeah. The more people who tell us they'll buy it and make it worth us actually going through the manufacturing process.
That more than anything else.
Yeah.
Like through the design process. Like if we want to make it cool.
If a bunch of you in chat, like in the Discord, in the Patreon, tell us that you're going to buy them, then we'll probably get it manufactured. All right, man, Eric. I don't know how many more weeks I'm going to read these, but I'm going to read this one, I guess. Eric says, hey, guys, I've really grown over the months to appreciate the kind of in-depth look you take at various statistics that go beyond just simple win rates. Even though it seems like GW wants to use win rates as the primary driver, your examination of lesser used statistics like overrep and tournament winning position really brings a lot of nuance to the discussion around balance. In reviewing lesser used statistics related to 40K, what would you say is the most common two-word answer given in response to StatCheck Discord's questions over the last 4 to 6 weeks? I don't know how this gets to David Gaylord, and I'm kind of confused by this question, but okay.
I like to
just got you to say it.
Yep.
God damn it. Fine. You win, Eric. You win this week. You and your meddling questions getting me to David Gaylord. All right, Connor Nichols.
The real answer is Ironstorm.
True, we do say that a lot. We said Ironstorm so much today. Connor asks, how much to get Innis to take Invasion Fleet NIDS to Atlanta?
I would have to paint so much stuff, and I don't want to borrow stuff for Atlanta. So
what?
It would be a lot because I would not be able to work for like the week before Atlanta in order to pay for like
you're still like there's a number at the end of this road.
Yeah,
bro.
There's a number. I'm just not gonna voice it because I don't trust Cliff.
We saw what happened at the last grand finale when Cliff had a little bit of extra money in the pocket.
Is it $2,000?
I don't really know.
3?
If you wagged $2,000 at Innis, I bet you he would.
Oh yeah, I would dance like a I would dance like a puppet, frankly.
$2,000 is the number.
2K
now, wait,
is the number now.
Pounds or dollars?
Pounds.
There we go.
Dollars.
Right.
Dollars aren't real.
2,000 pounds.
So like
write it down, chat. That's the number to ruin Innis's time in Atlanta.
All right. Bobby Rez asks, what was the last horror movie you watched?
I am not a horror movie person, so I'm gonna have to go back through my memory.
Films. Does Underworld count?
No.
I kind of half watched the new Haunted Mansion because my parents had it on.
I think the last horror movie that I watched was Hellraiser because we watch horror movies every Halloween, and that's really the only time we watch horror movies.
Yeah, I definitely don't watch horror movies.
Yeah, fair enough.
Right.
And then the last thing is an image, and I just want to share it. So we're going to share this image. This is the meat case.
Oh,
so
the beef case. The beef case. Focus.
The bed of salt or cocaine. I'm not sure which. But...
it's Miami.
I'm sharing my screen.
Poppy steak.
Here is this beef case.
It's so good. Every time I see it, it's
everything about that is just
doesn't encapsulate like the music and the singing of like 20 people around them. I saw like a TikTok about this or something, and somebody was like, yeah, like 20 people ordered this over the night we were there.
Dude, that's so good. It's good.
Just a normal looking steak as well. Like it doesn't even look that special.
It isn't about the steak at this point.
It's not even like wagyu or anything really nice. It's just steak.
Dude, they could put anything in there. I don't even care.
It looks like a body. It doesn't look like a casket.
I mean, it is a body, right? It was once part of a body.
Or something like that in there.
How much do you think you have to pay them to take the beef case with you?
If they don't give it to you free, I don't want it.
Man, this is just giving me vibes of the actual Salt Bay restaurant where it's like $1,000 for him to come over and like just throw salt at your food and then walk away.
Yeah, sure, whatever. That's way less funny than this.
Apparently,
it
it
is
is a
Wagyu.
55-ounce purebred Australian Wagyu tomahawk steak.
Oh, okay. So it's a real steak.
But yeah, okay. I'm not going to get into the details of the naming on that, but yeah.
Don't think about that too hard.
Don't think too hard. On that note, we are out of questions from Discord. I'm going to go through super chats real quick. There is a question in there. Thank you, Davlos, for another currency that I don't recognize, which is S.
It's
think
the
it's
same one
Shanghai
as
dollars.
last time.
F in chat for Anthony losing his mind over
Singaporean
AWS
dollars.
Jenkins. What?
They're Singaporean
Again?
dollars, I think.
And SGD? Okay. So Anthony, F's in chat for you losing your mind over AWS.
I mean, it's not so bad yet. I've worked with it before. It wasn't too awful, but, you know.
Thank you, Ben, for $5 for talking about driving Innis across the border to Tijuana. Thank you to
I'm in
Tim.
danger.
A little, probably. Tim, thank you for laundering more money. That's just emojis, which is crocodile, flamingo,
Palm tree
coconut,
on a beach.
palm tree, dolphin, shark.
Yeah.
I'm sure that there's a hidden meaning there that I haven't caught yet. Cass, thank you for $5 Canadian and puppy! Exclamation point.
I'm glad
And
I
then
could finally
finally,
get Fergus on stream.
An actual question.
It's
Thank
not.
you,
It's not.
Steve.
It's trolling.
I know it's trolling, but I'm going to ask it anyways.
Oh no.
Steve asks, new to competitive play, I pay Hellstorm Mikey for coaching. He just keeps telling me to wait for a WTC event before I play to increase my chance of winning. What is Innis's thoughts plus translation?
No, personally, I do believe that any event that runs the weekend of WTC should ever be counted towards any statistics because, frankly, it's not a fucking tournament if there's no WTC players there. So you could just disregard half the events in the US and Canada to begin with because none of them are relevant. But if it's the only way you can win, which I would understand coming out of Mikey's mouth because that man's never won a thing that didn't come out of a fucking tombola machine.
I know that Google has messed up my results, by the way, because the first thing that comes up when I Google SGD is the Saccharomyces genome database.
Jesus.
Just putting it out there.
Anyone's welcome to translate that at any time, but I promise that it means basically nothing except fuck you, Mikey. Love you.
And then Brian is going to get in a last minute super chat. Thank you for the $4.99, not even quite to £4. Innis would get beef case, but ask for chicky tendies inside instead. On that note,
He doesn't even deny it.
I'll be writing a letter of recommendation to Sean about your performance in Team Scotland these last 2 years and your
damn.
You carry yourself.
If you could
I think he already had his interview, so I think he's fine.
If you could write that to me first, and then I'll forward it to Sean, that'd be great.
Yeah, I'm not trusting you for that, for being the person that handles that.
Why? I handle everything else.
There don't
Exactly,
appear to
you're
be
too
any.
biased.
There don't appear to be any other questions in there. I do like Chris's comment that somehow Innis is clearer with the accent than without it.
I have to slow it down to put on the affectation.
Oh, that's wonderful.
He starts speaking at a slightly above average speed instead of Innis.
What the fuck are you on about, laddie? Hold your fucking leash.
Somehow still clearer. All right.
Yep.
On that note, Innis, roll us out.
Thank you so much, everybody, for being with us for episode 66, Ironstorming the Meta. We are going to be taking a wonderful break for a week. I am not going to be here next week, so you guys get to have a wonderful time without me speaking loudly into the microphone in Scottish. Best of luck to everybody who's at the tournament this weekend. Have a wonderful time. Please remember to check out all the things we shouted out earlier. That's X1, Enter the Matrix, coaching, the YouTube, the Patreon, Red Dragon, Saltire, Cali Cup classes, and I'm probably something else, but frankly, it's 1 a.m. and I'm going to bed. Good luck. Nathan, take us out.
Bye-bye.
And I'm going to hit
Case.